DW Spectrum webinar is on the Blackjack Ai, which is our new all-in-one NVR and analytic appliance. So we'll be talking about that here this morning. Just to go over the agenda, we'll be talking about the Blackjack Ai, going through both its capabilities, what it is, as well as the hardware. And then there'll be room at the end for any questions and answers, and we'll wrap it up. As always, we are recording this webinar. We will post it on our website with all the other webinars that we do, as well as posted in the same place are our upcoming webinars. We have a number of upcoming webinars as well. So we encourage questions. Please use the Zoom question functionality to send us questions, and we'll try to get to those at the end of this quick webinar here this morning on the Blackjack Ai product that we will be launching on Monday. So just without further ado, just a quick little introduction of why DW and who DW is. We've been in business since 1987 in the video security space. We have our headquarters in Cerritos, California, as well as the office that I'm out of here in Tampa, Florida. And then we have our manufacturing facilities and research and development facilities in Seoul, South Korea, as well as in Vietnam. So we have trust in our supply chain from beginning to end, and we really focus on the usability of the product. So that's hence, things like DW Spectrum. Talk about the trust in the supply chain. As I mentioned, products are manufactured in South Korea, Vietnam, as well as do a little bit of manufacturing as well in Taiwan. So the products are NDAA compliant. Some of the products can even be TAA compliant. So, they are available for GSA contracts and things like that on those government projects and in terms of the compliance that we're all dealing with in the video security space. Said we've been in business since 1987. We've tried to innovate along the way with primarily around the user experience and how the user interacts with the product. Everywhere from the initial, VMAX with being one of the first ones to put it on a mobile app, all the way up through Spectrum and the usability in Spectrum and our Blackjack NVRs, and we continue to add to that. And today we're adding to that with within the AI space with our Blackjack Ai product. We do have a growing number, and we've recently added to this list. So this is up to date on our website, but we've added additional regional managers, sales engineers, manufacturers representatives as well. And they're always available for they're ready to partner with you, and they're available for demonstrations and discussions about the products that we're discussing here today, as well as all the products on our website. And on that website, you can request a demo where we can engage them and get them to reach out to you and come visit you, or at least Zoom with you and discuss the products. We do, as I said, have a number of resources on our website, installation videos and documentation, our ever evolving online knowledge base with additional information, the latest technical updates and so forth are all posted within that knowledge base. Search engine on that knowledge base is phenomenal. We tag every article. All the terms in each one of those articles is searchable. So the knowledge base is a really useful tool. Of course, we've got our US-based technical support group based out of both Tampa, Florida and Cerritos. So we're East Coast, West Coast, which is beneficial for all. And then we've got our DW University with its online learning management system, where we have the Spectrum certification as well as other certifications in development to educate on our products and how they operate and function. Of course, if you haven't reached out to your regional sales manager, then another way to do this is through the channel partner program. Enroll on our website today, develop a plan, get certified, and execute the plan. There are a number of benefits, partner benefits to being a DW channel partner. So you want to go to the website and check that out as well. And so now we'll get into the Blackjack Ai product. And so it's an all-in-one NVR and analytic appliance. So what we're doing with the Blackjack Ai is we're combining both the DW Spectrum media server engine, as well as an IVA AI server analytic engine on board. Combined both of these engines into a single platform, all-in-one, high performance video recorder with video analytics. So it's an easy turnkey solution out there. And the analytics on board are neural network analytics. So these are AI analytics. So this is definitely a benefit over some of the existing IVA out there in terms of that it features two technologies, deep learning technologies, both people tracker and object tracker are on board. But the real benefit of this is that we can take any camera, any non-analytic camera, and apply server-side analytics to that camera. So we can take any camera stream, whether it's coming from our compressor encoder, whether it's a stream on our, our Megapix Flex multi-imagers, as well as any non-analytic camera out there. And we can apply neural network-based analytics to it to detect and classify people and vehicles to reduce that false alarm rate. So when we look at that, the technology, first one is the people tracker. And so the people tracker uses pose estimation to identify people using the skeletal outlines of a person. And these pre-trained models, you can see the side-by-side comparison between standard tracker, where you're getting a lot of false alarms just based off of the movement and the pixel change, whereas the people tracker is used for the with pose estimation for the skeletal outline. People tracker, when you deploy it, you want to pay attention in the knowledge base because it is for these entryways, kind of the tight shots. It's not going to be the wide shot. It's going to be more of the tight shot. The pixel density on this for identifying that skeletal outline is going to require enough pixels, and we'll have this documented in the knowledge base for you. But the big thing with this is that there's no calibration required. So there's the setup on this is much easier because there's no calibration required as well. And this is just designed to detect and track people. Now, next one is the object tracker, which does include the ability to track people. So object tracker will also identify things like cars and vans and trucks and motorcycles, as well as people. Okay, so vehicles and things like that can be tracked in here. So here you see our parking lot in Cerritos, and what you notice here right away is you've got a outdoor field of view, a large field of view. The red outline here gives you the where we're searching for, or where we're monitoring for both people and vehicles. And then you notice that as people are walking into the parking lot, the red bounding boxes around the people, or when the car runs through the area here, you get the red bounding box around them as well. So that's all coming from the IVA AI server analytic running on the IVA server engine on board the Blackjack Ai. And then you'll also notice in this particular video is the little messages that come up, because we do have the on-screen display. So where it is firing off that event. Okay, and we'll get into that a little bit more in terms of the event capability, but so that it's detecting a presence of a person or a vehicle. And next to the person or vehicle there, you'll see a confidence level, so that it's detecting a person at 90% there, for instance. All right. So the security algorithms that you can run with the Blackjack Ai using the IVA AI server analytic engine are all the analytics algorithms that you're familiar with in terms of our IVA product. So you've got intrusion and line crossing and stopped, abandoned, counting line, loitering, entering, and exit. So these are, it's an all-in-one. It's all included in the Blackjack AI. There's no differentiation between this. So you've got a onboard analytic engine with all of the algorithms on board. Again, with no need for calibration in the setup process of this. Setup of this is very easy in terms of defining the zone so that you can adjust the polygon here and define this and name this particular zone. So in this case, we're naming it as zone 15. We're looking for people. You'll notice that the person walking up on this area, he's in yellow, so we're tracking that person. And then once he enters the zone, the bounding box around the person is going to adjust, and it's going to change color to red because he's entered into that zone and it's identified it as a person. So it's classified that with that percentage of confidence, it's more than 80%. It's going to send that alarm event to the VMS, DW Spectrum and the Spectrum engine to where we can initiate the actions on that. So in this case, you see the trees and the brushes on the side with lots of wind moving, but not causing any false alarms, and it's identifying that it is a person, and that person is what's going to send. So you're only the classifier is going to trigger that event. And so in this case, we're looking for presence of people as opposed to presence of vehicles. Also included, just like within our IVA Plus, is our IVA Plus cameras, very similar to it, but including the deep learning capability, is the logical rule function. And so what we're demonstrating here in this particular video with the logical rule capability is the ability to track objects. So you see all of the objects being tracked, both people and vehicles in this scene. Again, a wide, large outdoor area. The yellow bounding boxes are objects being tracked within the scene. Now, the rule that we've created using the logical rule is that a vehicle needs to hit the first intrusion zone outlined in the red box here on the left, and then it needs to proceed and hit the red bounding box on the right for the second intrusion zone, and it needs to do that within 5 seconds. So you'll notice that the vehicles that go from one zone to the next the bounding boxes will change to red, whereas the vehicles that just go through like this one right here, just goes through the one intrusion zone, stays in a yellow, so it's not sending that alarm event to the VMS. Only the ones in red are getting sent to the VMS. And again, this is all set up with no calibration, but you can combine the rules for greater efficiency. You can reduce the false alarm events for the case when you're doing, remote video monitoring or video verification. You'll get a much greater efficiency by combining rules in logic, using the logical rule function in the Blackjack AI IVA server engine. Okay, here's an example using our one of our ultra wide. So this is a 8 megapixel ultra wide single sensor solution, and again, kind of set up the same way as you've seen earlier. And then the bounding boxes where it's looking for people and vehicles. The impressive part about this particular sample video was that obviously the trees and the wind blown area are, it's picking up some of that and trying to determine it, but it's not raising it to the confidence level over 80% to where it's going to send an alarm event. But when it does pick up a person, or when it does identify a person or a vehicle, the bounding boxes change to that red indication, and that would indicate that it's going to send an alarm event to the VMS, where you can program in the actions, which is what we'll cover here in just a second. But we're doing this with an 8 megapixel ultra wide single sensor camera that we have available now. And we're also doing it with the 16 megapixel multi-sensor, the Megapix Flex. So, you know, the benefit of this is here you've got a non-IVA camera and you're applying AI to that camera stream on the Blackjack Ai, and you're applying it to one of the imagers. So you've got 4 different imagers with this camera. The Megapix Flex is adjustable. You can make it a 180-degree camera, 240-degree camera, 270-degree camera, 360-degree camera. So you can take the 4 sensors and position them as needed. So this is available, and it's available. You'll notice the 2 different part numbers at the top there. It's available with different lens configurations. So the 2 at the end indicates that all 4 sensors are at 2.8 versus the 4 is all 4 sensors are at 4 millimeter, and we ship that to you completely assembled with all 4 lenses put in the camera. But again, back to that video, you're seeing that the vehicle is being detected there with a confidence level over 90%. And all of this is set up with no calibration, lots of shadows, lots of trees in this image, and it's just picking up the people walking through the parking lot and the vehicles driving through those detection zones and sending those events when it's over 80% in terms of its confidence level on that. Now, once the IVA server engine has identified that 90% or 80% confidence level and it sends that alarm event to the VMS DW Spectrum, you take those events and you bring them into Spectrum. You can use the analytic event function within the rules engine to turn those events into actions. So there's lots of different actions that we can program in Spectrum, whether it's simple as an on-screen notification or tagging the video using the bookmark functionality. If you wanted it to pop up on an operator's screen, you can use the alarm pop-up function. If you want to initiate a PTZ to move to a preset, or if you want to trip a relay output, email notification, audible output, all of those are available. And then there's a couple more available as well, including the mobile push notification and the HTTP as action capability within Spectrum. So all of these objects being identified in the IVA server engine can be turned into actions easily within DW Spectrum using the event rule function. So here we see in terms of a mobile push notification, again, you know, that we've set up a line, that line detection, car goes over that line, push notification sends that notification to a DW Cloud user who has the DW Spectrum mobile app on their mobile device, and they're set up for mobile push notification within the rules engine. And that could be an individual user, or it could be a group of users using the user role function within Spectrum as well. Okay. As I mentioned, we do also have the HTTP as action capability within Spectrum. So you can take those generated events and turn devices on. So in this case, we're looking at the rules setup and on an analytic event, but this is actually not just an analytic event, it's an analytic object detected. So and we've identified that when a vehicle is detected, we can also use the schedule that says that this is after hours. So a combination of from the camera that it's a vehicle detected by the IVA Ai server engine, as well as the schedule equals that you're going to send an HTTP request to a night watch illuminator that also works with Spectrum. As we discussed in last week's webinar, we're able to control these night watch illuminators. So a hybrid illuminator, we could have that hybrid illuminator in IR mode after hours, but when a vehicle is detected, we can turn that white light on and produce visible light as to not only improve the quality of the video, but also act as a deterrent as well. And this can all happen automatically. It doesn't have to be any kind of user driven. You can set this up to automatically do that when an analytic event object is detected, turn that light on using the rules engine inside of Spectrum. Of course, you can also now start recording on a object event as well. So when a vehicle or person is detected, you want to start recording. So if you want to conserve the hard drive, as most people are familiar with Spectrum, you're able to record only when there's motion in front of the camera. You're also able to record the low resolution stream continuously, so you have some video. That's kind of that third object, that third option here is to be able to record the low resolution stream so that you get a continuous recording of the video. But when an object is detected, whether it's a vehicle or person from the IVA AI server engine, that object detection initiates a record function, and at which point we would then record using this third option here. You would record the full resolution stream. So the green option would be that you would just record when the object is detected. The kind of color scheme there, you got a couple different ones. You got a red, a yellow, and an orange. That it's either motion only, object only, or a combination of motion and object, being the kind of pink there as that. And of course, you get the pre-record and post-record in the record schedule as well. So you can drive that recording schedule not only by motion now, but you can also drive it by those objects being detected by the IVA server engine. And of course, we can also now do the backup. So if you're recording, and a lot of people will record as well as back up their video, instead of having to back up everything, you can now just back up just those object events or just the motion events or any combination of that. There's also bookmarks in here. So if you've created the rules and you've tagged the video with bookmark, you can back that up. And you see, you can also do any combination of that. So this gives you the ability to essentially record in two places, but you're setting that backup location to be efficiently managed, that it's only going to back up those events that are important to you, those objects and motion events and bookmark events that are important get backed up, whereas the main storage just gets overwritten. And of course, for the user's sake, when a user is searching video, we now have the advanced object search, the pop-out window. So all the attributes that the IVA server engine is picking up, vehicle, person, there's even color capability within the IVA server engine. You're able to search that using the new advanced object search pop-out window, which you can initiate just from the right panel by clicking that advanced tab. Where it creates that pop-up window, and you can select the attributes that you want to search by in that advanced pop-up window. Okay, let's take a look at the hardware here. And so we've got the initial lineup of the Blackjack Ai, the all-in-one NVR and analytic appliance. We're actually going to use our we've got our P rack. So it's a 2U rack mounted unit with Windows on board that is going to have 4 Spectrum licenses as far as 4 IVA Ai licenses on board. We rate this to handle a maximum up to 64 cameras streams. And so there is a solid state device on board for the operating system to ensure reliability. Of course, we've got the NVIDIA on board, so it's NVIDIA Metropolis enabled for this device, so that we can use those AI capabilities efficiently. And we have the dual network ports on board, of course, to isolate all the communication from the user's network. And that comes with a 5-year limited warranty. You'll see that we're going to have that in 3 different hard drive configurations there: the 64, the 80, and the 96. So in terms of the part number there, you just insert the hard drive between the P and the T, and you've got your part number for the P rack. We also have it available in the Blackjack towers. So we've got both a 600 megabit per second unit in the full tower form factor, as well as a 480 megabit per second using the mid tower form factor. We've got 3 different hard drive configurations for those. all again, including 4 licenses, all with solid state drives and NVIDIA hardware on board to efficiently manage those analytic capabilities. All right. And so, as I mentioned earlier, that team is available on any page on our website. There's the demo capability. You can request a demo, and we'll engage our sales team to reach out to you and schedule a demo and put something together as well. And we'll just touch here that we do have a couple of upcoming webinars, both next Thursday and the following Thursday, with some new technology partners. We've got TOA Corporation, and we're going to talk about their IP speaker horn and how it's an on-VIF device that integrates with Spectrum as well, so that you can bring audio into your Spectrum system with voice down capability right through the Spectrum interface, as well as we have Vidutron, which has got a great presentation in terms of their PoE capability, their switches and their PoE capability on board those switches. So that's on September 8th, both of course at 11 a.m. Eastern. All right, I see lots of questions, so I'm going to try to answer some of these. Haven't previewed them obviously yet, so just give me a second here. Paul, I don't know if you looked, did you see anything?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of good ones here. Start at the top.
Start at the top.
There's some good ones.
Do you have any access to the AI events available through? Can we get the notification that a person entered and exited an area? So yes, you can get notifications. I think that might have been answered. Looks like by the time it was probably asked before I got to that notification part. Spectrum, of course, has a full notification event. And so, yeah, as far as using the API, you can use Spectrum can also act as a it acts as both a REST API client as well as a server. So the client capability of Spectrum's in the rules engine would be the go back here, would be what's known as generic event, where it's going to receive events from third parties. So a RESTful API notification to receive would be what's known as a generic event. Very similar to how we're actually receiving the events from the IVA server engine in this case. But the do HTTP can communicate with third-party devices via REST API condition, and you can program that right there using the do HTTP. So that's definitely a way to do it. As far as the second part, license plate of a vehicle, that is not in Blackjack AI at this point. Right now, we're concentrating on people and vehicles and colors and so forth for that. We do have the Blackjack AI Pro on the roadmap for later this year, where we will have license plate capabilities as well introduced into this. So just a little bit of roadmap. But be integrated into the CAS cameras at any point. Hopefully. It's not in the near term at this point as far as AI and CAS. Again, you will see, so we are doing within Blackjack AI and the deep learning capability on the server side, probably before what you're asking, Jeff, before we see it in CAS, we're going to see AI capability on our cameras. So we'll have, Megapix AI before we get to that. But then, yeah, maybe CAS will have some additional functions in it by ISC, but we'll get to that when we do. We just move forward here. So you can set any rules. You set rules that they have to go through 2 zones in 5 seconds. Yes, that's the logical rule function will allow you to combine, so you can take both intrusion zones, and you can set a time. It doesn't have to be 5 seconds. It's flexible, but yes, in terms of the programming, you can do that. Correct. It is camera agnostic. So any cameras, that's what we mean by that you can turn any camera into an AI enabled camera, which is what we were referring to back here, is that you can take any camera stream and apply the your IVA server engine to it. So the camera does not, it's camera agnostic. As long as that video feed is coming into Spectrum, we can take that video feed and feed it over into the IVA server analytic engine, and you can configure it in the IVA server analytic engine, and the server and the engine will then take those events and send them back in the Spectrum as they occur. So it is camera agnostic, as camera agnostic as DW Spectrum is, which is, last I checked, about 900 different manufacturers with about 14,000 different devices connected to it. Somebody asking about MX integration. There's, we'd have to double check on that, but absolutely there's both the IVA server engine and Blackjack have both been integrated with MX, so MX should have no issue with this whatsoever. You might want to double check with MX. You know, obviously it's their product, but I know for a fact that both the IVA server engine as well as Spectrum has been integrated with MX, and so there's no reason it shouldn't. There's a couple questions in here, and you know, it is the AI is using the low resolution stream. So in terms of processing power, we are using, you know, that is the reason in terms of the hardware that I mentioned, the NVIDIA Metropolis enabled on the hardware itself, because the analytics are taking advantage of that framework to operate efficiently at that low resolution stream. A couple questions. So there is, just to point out, the IVA server engine will be deployed on our Blackjack AIs. And so the IVA server analytic engine, so the IVA AI license that you're applying to that is applied to this particular device. There's no plans to offer it other than through the Blackjack AI, just because of the dependencies in the hardware. And from a support standpoint, those dependencies make it extremely difficult to support. Questions about the form factors. So I think, again, may have asked that question before I got to this particular slide. So we've got both the tower and the rack mount as well. Okay. Yes, it's the same exact, it is a P rack. So it is a server rack 2U configuration on that. We will have this added to the pricing on price list on Monday when it's released. So all the pricing will be available. Let's see. Question here in terms of, will this work with any analytic capable camera other than DW? I think I've kind of answered that already. Hopefully you got that, but it's camera agnostic. It does not require an analytic capable camera. It just requires a camera stream. The object tracking should note in terms of panoramic cameras. There's a question here in terms of stitching. No, it's going to take that. So you got that 16 megapixel flex. Each individual stream is what's going to be analyzed there, not the 4 streams as one. So it's basically a one You're applying one IVA license to one of those streams to run the analytics on that particular stream. Yes, it can do. It's still line crossing as far as for people counting in terms of that. I think I've got most. Yeah, these will start shipping on Monday. Pricing, it'll be added to the price list. You'll have it available on Monday as well. Okay, I think that's all of them. All right. So again, on our website, we do have the request a demo. You can engage your, that'll engage the sales team to reach out to you and schedule a demonstration to discuss this further. If you have any further questions, if you haven't got your questions answered here, you can always reach out to me or Paul and send us an email. We can get your question answered or get you in touch with our regional sales representative. Anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody for attending. Appreciate the time, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.